This time on One Foot Flipper, I tell you how to answer those customer questions. Stay tuned.
One foot flipper.
One Foot Flipper. Hi, Paige here, the One Foot Flipper. How's it going? I'm not doing bad. Let's just jump right into it. We're going to look over 10 common customer questions and what I do about it and what maybe you might want to do about it. The first one isn't just one question, but it can be a series of questions, usually on a very low item. If you've sold a lot, you're going to recognize this one. You wake up, you see you have 7 eBay messages, and you're like, oh no, what did I do wrong? But you get in there, one of them's the message that says we sent your payout, and the other 6 messages are for the same customer about the exact same item, usually something relatively low value, a Barbie doll or something that might attract younger customers. I most often encounter these messages with toys, anything related to anime, and smaller vintage electronics. Now, what I've found is that these customers file returns and claims at an incredibly high rate. And for these messages, I do a few things. First, I'm going to block the customer. Then I'm going to end the item, because I don't need Timmy, since he can't buy the item on his account, buying it on his mom's account instead, and then still trying to return it. No thanks. Then I'm going to sell the item, you sell similar, toss that item into my draft bank. I'm just going to let it sit there for a few weeks. And then I'll launch it back out. By the time it relaunches, that obsessive customer will have moved on to bothering someone else about something else. And I would note, I would do the exact same thing if it's a huge string of messages before you can even reply, or if it's someone who just has an endless new question every time you answer their question. Same way, those people love to return the item, and that's the last thing you want. So tonight, Meta Bubbles, Fox Hunter, and a few new friends who I've only just recently met are coming over to start a new Dungeons & Dragons game, and I'm pretty excited about that because I'm a big old nerd, and I haven't played once in the last 4 years. And we're going to be doing Castle Ravenloft for the 3.5 edition of D&D. It's my adventure book, but I've never actually read it, and Meta Bubbles is going to be the one who runs it. It lasts more than one night. It's going to take a long time, so that'll be cool. Your second message you might get frequently is the message from the expert. And this message from the expert usually pops up when you list a very valuable item. They're usually going to contact you within a few days of posting, often same day, sometimes same hour. And that expert obviously knows all about the item, and they're going to explain to you how your particular copy of it is essentially worthless, but they're going to graciously offer to pay you the lowest existing comp out there on the item. And if you go back and look, you'll see a whole bunch sold for 100 plus, and you'll see one that sold for 50 because, the person listed it too low. They're going to graciously offer to pay you that 50. If you research these customers, you'll see that they are most often frequent buyers and sellers, and that they are often sellers of the exact same sort of thing that you're selling in the first place. Like, I recently got a $50 offer on a rare Apple II game from such an expert, and I go, look, what do they sell? Oh, nothing but vintage software. Imagine that. With experts, I normally don't reply in the first place, but I normally also don't block them either, because such people will tend to just buy items at normal prices too when they're something they actually want, instead of them just trying to get it from you to flip it over. Now, I've changed over my system again. I feel like I'm ADHD Dave here, changing things all the time, because I was not wanting to, my basement is cold, and I wasn't wanting to go down there to work because it was cold. So now I list upstairs again, and I ship and file downstairs. So when the new items come in, they go onto this wire rack here, and then I take my pictures over here, either in that white spot, or I use the white table and stick a big white card in front of it, and I list everything up here, put it back on the wire rack, and then my wife and daughter bring everything on the wire rack downstairs so I can file it away. Now I'm not avoiding listing just because I don't want to go downstairs. And since I have to file the things away, of course, and I have to ship them, that's not an issue, so that just gets done. And since I changed to upstairs, that's when my sales started going back up because daily listings are happening again. Although I listed nothing yesterday because I spent the entire day cleaning. Like, look under my desk. Look, there's nothing really there anymore. That used to be filled with junk. These drawers used to be filled with junk. They still look like they're filled with junk, but the difference is all the real garbage is out of them. It's only the usable tools and useful items and such that are there. And this is much improved. I'm going to give that card sorter to Metal Bubbles because I don't really need a card sorter anymore. So, yeah, looking forward to that. All right, your third customer is going to message you from time to time is the smelly customer. Now, this customer, they're going to message you asking about possible smells on the item. Now, sometimes it's going to be items that might have a chance of being smelly. Clothing, stuffed animals, plush. But it's often for items that would never have a smell concern in the first place. Trading cards. Brand new sealed electronics. Action figures. And sometimes these people will get into various reasons why. Allergies. Autistic sons comes up a lot. Always sons, never daughter. I'm not really sure what's up with that. I don't know a lot about autism. But then sometimes the reasons start moving into the fantastical area. Like, the last eBay order I got smelled so bad they sent me to the hospital for a month. Now, if you're going to dig into the feedback left from these customers, you're going to find a steady stream of negatives, neutrals, or indications that they were unhappy or returned the item. It always seems to be either this terrible feedback or the person just doesn't leave feedback in the first place. And sometimes you'll find soft positives left on these people, like the seller indicates that leaves a positive that says the customer was crazy, and so on. Now, I feel for anybody who has real medical problems, but there's no way for you as a seller to know if the problem they have is an actual physical medical condition or if it's a mental problem. I learned pretty quickly after my first 3 customers ever who asked about smells all filed returns, 2 of which were on brand new sealed items, and the third was a trading card. Now with these customers, I normally reply, I'm sorry, I have a terrible sense of smell. I just wouldn't be a good judge. You should probably purchase from someone else, and then I block them. So, does anyone watch Mr. Buys a Lot? An item of his recently cropped up on the eBay forums that caused me to take a look at his store. And I don't understand how a store with 96,000 listings that sells $3,000 a month isn't paying more in eBay fees than it generates. It seems like the enterprise store level alone would eat up the entire $3,000. If you know how this is working out for this guy, hey, post in the comments. Hey, if you're Mr. Buys a Lot, please post in the comments how that works for you. I'd really be interested to know. Now, Mr. Buys a Lot did have a recent 5-figure sale of a single item, but that's a Black Swan event. That's not a normal result for him, so I didn't count that in the $3,000 per month. Hey, your fourth message you're going to get a lot is, I didn't get my item, even though the tracking already shows it was delivered. Now, if this is an eBay standard envelope item, trading cards, postage stamps, that sort of thing, then I'll let the customer know that they often show delivered a day or 2 early and that it should arrive soon. For anything else, I'm going to wait an entire day before I reply. And then I'm going to reply saying, tracking shows it was delivered to your address. Might want to check with your mailman or neighbors. Now, the reason I wait the entire day is that gives an entire day for many of these missing packages to show up. The neighbor brings it over. Turns out the husband got the package, brought it in, put it up on the shelf, and the person sending the message never knew it and assumed it didn't arrive. Something like that. Now, if I get any messages that expect a reply, I'll once again wait at least a day before replying, and I'll wait up till 3 days if they are being hostile or the item is in a high scam category, video games, Pokemon cards, that sort of thing. And then I'll respond with something along the lines of, hi, here's the phone number of your local post office. They are who you need to contact about this. Now, this just encourages those that have a genuinely lost item to actually talk to the right people. While it just further punts down the road those who are just fishing for free items. And if they file a claim, then I respond to the claim with the tracking number as eBay expects you to do. If you do that, you win the claim. Under no circumstances do I refund these customers. However, if it's a low dollar item I have in quantity that isn't likely to be a scam target, like the Christmas ornaments that I have hundreds of each, then I might send out a replacement, because I probably will believe that Aunt Mildred somehow didn't get her ornament. Maybe she accidentally threw it away. Who knows? And I'll probably just send out another one. Otherwise, no, I did what was expected of me. I have no way of knowing if that item was stolen once it arrived at your house, or if you're just lying to me. I have no way to know. Oh, hey, I'd like to give a little shout out to Helo's World, the railroad reseller, for finally putting railroad reseller in his username, so people could actually find him when he gets mentioned in other videos. Before, people would mention the railroad reseller. Carrie, American Arbitrage, likes to mention on Trash Cash all the time, but when you typed in railroad reseller, you wouldn't find him. Now you do. And being easy to find is a good thing both for eBay and for YouTube. When you're selecting a username or a store name, try to pick something that doesn't overlap with anyone else, doesn't have numbers in it, isn't spelled strangely. Like, the Philly Flipper is not successful because he spelled his name strangely in his username. He's successful in spite of that. Does that make any sense? All right. Where was I? Oh, I think I'm going to have to have them shorten my prosthetic leg here for a third time. It still just feels a little bit too tall. If I'm walking on even a mildly left-facing slope, I'm just wanting to fall over. It's been 2 weeks since they shortened it last time, and it just isn't right yet. Isn't it amazing how something like that could be so analog, like how long your leg is supposed to be? You'd think it was something they could just measure and figure out instantly, but it's not. All right, your sixth question that you're going to get from your eBay customers is the condition question on a nearly worthless item. Does this have any damage on it anywhere? Are there any scratches on this? Things like that. This seems to crop up most often on Pokemon cards and really low-end collectible toys. And this question comes to you sponsored by Timmy the Dreamer. Timmy believes that the item in question is going to be worth a fortune someday, even though it's worthless now. Timmy is expecting to get a Gem Mint PSA 10 hyper-colored, graded, untouched by human hands version of this product with zero production flaws of any type. Just block Timmy. He's going to file the return almost every single time. Hey, speaking of cards, I fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you're looking at, found more valuable cards while cleaning up my desk, which means I now have to list more cards. I'm just wondering if I'm ever going to be able to just say goodbye to cards and be done with them. Seventh message you're going to get is, can I buy just one item out of this lot? Now, the answer to that depends on what the item is. If the item is the one good item in an otherwise lot of junk, then I'd simply tell the customer, you base the lot price off the value of that one item, and the rest was just a toss-in. Doesn't have much value. If you don't want the rest of it, it could make the shipping cheaper, but you're not changing the item price. Now, if that isn't the case, then I'll usually be willing to split a single item off of a large lot, particularly if it's easy to erase that item out of the photos, because I do a lot of junk drawer lots, things that I don't think are worth it. I'll pile 30 items onto the table and sell them all in one big box. And those do sell eventually, but sometimes somebody will come along and they'll find that one item they want and it'll be in there. And I'll quote probably half the price of the lot for the single item, and usually the people buy it. Then I just erase the item out of the pictures with the paint editor and put the lot back up at the same price, and usually the lot still will also eventually sell. Now, there's a variation on this where somebody wants to mix and match items out of several different lots, and they're usually universally cherry-picking the best item out of the lots. And normally, I don't entertain these offers at all, just responding, I'm sorry, these are already pre-packed, they're at the storage location. I'd have to raise the price significantly if I had to go get them, make new listings, and then pack them again. However, if it's a high-dollar lot, and they want to make a singular swap that seems reasonable, I will often do it. Like, I sell many lots of Warhammer figures and fantasy gaming miniatures and such. And if we're talking about $100 lot and somebody wants to swap out a single figure, then I'll likely just accommodate them. A lot of times it's because I put an out-of-place figure in an otherwise focused lot in the first place, and they found something that actually fit better in one of my other lots. And that I'll do if it's real money. Otherwise, not doing it. Hey, all you guys out there, if you're still watching, then you probably enjoy my content, or at least you hate watching me, which is good enough. So why not hit that subscribe button? Half of you watching aren't subscribed. And watching that number go up is the main reason that I do this, because the money is not worth it. For number 8, we're going to lump several short ones together. Can you take the sealed item out of the box and provide more photos? No, sorry, not opening sealed items. Here's a stock photo of what they look like outside of the box, and attach a stock photo. Can you make the shipping cheaper? No, I can't. Perhaps it would be cheaper from you to buy from someone closer, as shipping cost is based on the distance. Can I have this item for half price? No. Can I have this item for free? No. Can you modify this item for me? No. Number 9, customers with requests about a strange detail of the item. Hey, can you look at the dead wax on the record and see if it has AMI BFG 77 engraved on it? Hey, does the inside of that video game case have an advertisement for Sonic Legacy? Does the foot of that action figure have HK83 molded into it? Does the back of that Nintendo cartridge have 3 screws or 5 screws? These customers are almost universally looking to pick up rare and expensive variations of an item for the price of the common item. If you get that message, I encourage you to go look. But if it turns out the answer is yes, you pull the item down and you relaunch it as the appropriately priced variation. Maybe even send a thank you message to the person who clued you in on it. I find that to be fun. Oh, thanks. I had no idea I had the $100 version. Thanks for letting me know. And, you know, the one they were messaging you about is down, and it's back up. It's up as the $100 version. So my personal sales have really been turning around now that I'm back in the groove of sourcing and listing again. I'm having a lot more $100 days and a lot less $30 days recently. It isn't back to the pre-channel good old days where $300 was a bad day, but it is definitely getting better. All right, so our 10th customer is going to be the confused customer who may possibly be international. If the customer's question seems to indicate that they don't understand the item on a basic level, or they're looking at the wrong item, then I will tell them. Like, when I find them, I buy old software whenever I find it, particularly if it's sealed, even if it's something nobody would ever want, because somebody does want it. People collect that stuff. And like, I have a few sealed software boxes of 90s era Norton utilities and antivirus and things like that. And I recently had a customer ask me the system requirements on one of these antivirus programs. So in the reply, I said was that this is a sealed piece of vintage software that was over 25 years old and would not be usable on any modern computer, and would not truly be usable on any vintage computer either, because it is far too far out of date and the web services will have been shut down many years ago. It's just a collector's item for vintage software collectors. But I have went ahead and attached a photo of the system requirements anyway. And usually you never hear back from these people because they realize, oh yeah, I'm an idiot. Sometimes you get the confused international customer. When I get a question from somebody in a non-English speaking country that indicates even the slightest level of confusion or doubt about the item, what is for? Does fit sofa? Well, or sometimes you get the person who does at least seem to speak English well. Will this work on my local electric grid? I'll usually just block the customer because I don't have an answer to any of that. And I don't want a large amount of money, whether it being mine or the customer's, or eBay's for that matter, being lit on fire, sending the wrong item to people overseas. They can do it to somebody else's money or not to mine. But if it is just a normal straightforward question, how long is it? Then I'll answer it. I'll even give the length in centimeters because I know the rest of the world uses that. All right, I think that's all I've got for today. If you know anybody who has anything measured in centimeters, why don't you tell them about this channel? Could use a few more subscribers. Thanks. Hope to see you again soon.